Hello, this is Andreas from Nordic Tarot, and I'm here with a love reading for the second half of October. And I just want to mention, as always, that before we get into the readings, that these readings are general and they won't, and really they can't resonate with everyone. So I really hope there is a message for you, but if there is not, I'm sorry. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy your reading. Hello, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This time around, your underlying energy is the King of Swords. Now, you're a fire energy, so sometimes I would say like, oh, this can be someone else, etc. But the underlying energy is something that is very intrinsically your kind of energy. Like, it can definitely be someone else. And with some of the cards you have, I feel like it could definitely be someone else. But for it to be someone else's energy, it needs to be someone who's very intertwined with you. Like your energy and all, they need to be very close and involved and like around you at all times. So this could definitely be a partner, right? But for them to come up here, then they need to be really significant to what's going on here. So the King of Swords can definitely be someone else, and then they might be an air energy, so a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or someone exhibiting these kind of energies, but this can also be you. And I'll get to it in the end, of course, but I feel like it has to do with the Oracle card to the Sea. But like I said, I'll get to it when I get there. But the King of Swords, he's a great advisor, and he is very intelligent and clever, and he deals with the truth, he knows the truth, and of course, like all the air signs, the King of Swords has the ability to detach quite easily from things and look at them objectively, and they could come off as kind of cold sometimes, like they don't care. But at the heart of your reading, you have the Wheel, and the Wheel is one of the Fate cards, and the Wheel does speak of this change happening, and there's the change of seasons, and the wheel keeps turning, but of course the seasons come again, right? And that's also one of the things that the wheel talks about, that it often puts us in situations that we might have been in before, and like the components might be different, but the situation in itself might be very similar to something we've been dealing with in the past. And that's like the universe's way of kind of trying to teach us a lesson of some sort. Like, it can be about breaking cycles and breaking chains and breaking the mold and doing something different for different results, and for us, for our benefit, for our greater good, and like letting us grow as people. But then the wheel is crossed by the Knight of Pentacles, and the Knight of Pentacles, all the knights are about movement, right? They all move, but they move at different speeds. And like the Knight of Swords is the fastest, and then it's the Knight of Wands, and then the Knight of Cups, and then the Knight of Pentacles is the slowest knight. But he's not slow because he's lazy or anything. He's slow because he's meticulous, because he has a plan, and he is of a mind to execute that plan to a T. Like, he takes a step, checks the plan, makes sure he's done everything and everything's as it should, and then he takes the next step, right? So why is the Knight of Pentacles crossing the wheel here? Like, it can be that you feel this kind of change coming on, or that you're in this kind of cycle, but is it moving too slowly for you? Do you feel like it's not happening fast enough? Because it looks to me like you've had some excellent energies happening to you, and maybe you feel like you're on this roll, but then, of course, like I said, the Oracle cards are like, the Oracle of Oracle card is quite frank about what it's saying here. And maybe it's this, like, not getting swept away by it. Like, because, like I said, some excellent things have been happening here. Like, in your past, for example, you have justice, and then that's like the karmic scales balancing out. It can be about decisions or apologies coming in. It can be about marriages and contracts. But like I said, it's also karmic scales, it's justice, it's something happened in the past, and of course the past leads to the present, and I think what did happen in the past was quite positive for you. because justice is supposed to be blind, right? So when we get like a windfall from justice, then we're like, okay, I was in the right. That kind of, you get this kind of justified feeling, I suppose. But then in the present, then the energy it's led to is the Six of Wands, and the Six of Wands is a victory card, which is fantastic. So the Six of Wands, it's victory, it's recognition as well. Like people recognizing, for example, is this Six of Wands energy? Is this you? Did you achieve a victory? Was something went well for you? So it can have been this justice thing. Was there some kind of decision or something that came in and it was a success for you? Like maybe it was some contract thing. For example, it's not just about marriage, of course, then it's also about divorce. So, and I'm not saying everyone's been through a divorce or anything, but there was this kind of positive thing, like I said, happening in the positive judgment. And then if you did have this victory, then you're also being recognized for that victory. Or maybe you're recognizing yourself, maybe you're recognizing your own success. Because in your outside influences, you also have the world, which is a successful completion of the cycle. And one of the kind of warnings, I suppose, that comes with the Six of Wands is that the victory and the celebration and recognition and everything is great, but it's also not to dwell on it. You're not necessarily finished. It's the Six of Wands. It's not the Ten of Wands. You're not done with the cycle. Maybe you've scored a victory, but there is still some work to be done. And of course, recognize the victory and appreciate it and celebrate it, but there's still things to be done. But I feel like you're taking some like great control over this situation, and you are kind of doing things your way and being successful doing it as well. And then in the future, if the Six of Wands is not enough, in the future you have the Three of Cups, which is a celebration. So, hey, let's throw a party. Things are looking good, But it's coming together as a community, spending time with friends and family and other loved ones. And again, it just feels like it's victory on victory. Like things are going quite smoothly for you, which is of course super exciting. But we also do have some of these other cards that we have to try and reconcile. Like, okay, so you have a victory now, and then there's this potential of a victory in the future, but in your crowning energy or your advice, you have the Five of Pentacles. And this is emotional poverty. It can be money troubles as well, but this is a love reading, so I think, it's more to do with feelings. But this can also be someone who's feeling left out in the cold. Like feeling like there's no support, like there's no support structure, there's no one to turn to, there's no one to ask for help. One thing that's important with the Five of Pentacles as well is that it can be voluntary. Like someone has said, I'm going to do something and I'm going to do it through my own efforts and my own powers, and I'll just do it my own way. I'm kind of getting that sense, like the messages I'm getting through for the Six of Wands and these things as well. Kind of like, oh, I'll just do it myself. Don't worry about it. I've got this. It's out of my way, kind of, because it looks like you're on this incredible roll, right? But of course, also with the Five of Pentacles, there is this advice that there is support there. If you just look for it, or if you just ask for it, if you just want it, the support is there. And that, that kind of coincides with the Three of Cups in the future as well, because there are, like I said, there are communities of friends and families and other loved ones that will potentially be around you in whatever the future situation is. But I also feel like I need to reiterate that with the Five of Pentacles, if it's difficult, then there is the support there, and it's important that you kind of express that you need that support as well. And like I said, it's about reconciling what is this Five of Pentacles energy doing here with when things look so successful, when there are these victories, like victory on victory. And I do feel like it's victory like that you're creating yourself, not that you just like fall ass backwards in success or anything. I feel like this is something you're working for and like working hard for as well, like really putting your back into it. And like in your feelings, you have the King of Wands, which is your energy. And I don't remember if I mentioned for the King of Swords, and I apologize, but yes, we have a King of Swords and a King of Wands here. But even if you're a woman or someone with a lot of feminine energy, you can still come up as the King's in these general readings, because the cards are trying to cover so many people. And of course, if this is someone you're dealing with, if you're a straight man, then the King of Swords and King of Wands, you know, they might be women instead. They might have shown up as the Queen of Swords and the Queen of Wands, etc. But of course, the King of Wands is in your feelings, so that is most likely how you are feeling about yourself, like where you are in yourself. That's where you are, and that's the King of Wands. And again, the King of Swords can definitely be someone else, but they have to be so intrinsic to your energies to show up like that as well. But I just feel like you're super grounded in yourself. Like, you're really in your energy and you feel stable. And you're kind of, I don't know, if it's kind of back to being the traditional you in some sense, kind of, maybe. Or you're maybe coming back to yourself in a very, very familiar kind of way. But I also feel like you're really utilizing your own kind of fire energy to create these like 6 of Wands, 3 of Cups kind of energies as well. And like I've said multiple times, I feel like this is you creating these things. Like, you're putting the work in. Which is excellent, of course. That's fantastic. And I am sure it's very satisfying as well. And like I said earlier, you do have the world in your outside factors or your outside influences. And the outside influence is not necessarily an energy that you notice straight away. Like, this is something that's affecting your situation. It's all around the reading, right? But you might not have noticed the energies yet. They might not, even though they are affecting you, may not be so obvious. And the world is a successful completion of a cycle. So is this the wheel cycle in your situation? Is that what this world energy is talking about? That it's already coming in and affecting your situation. You might not have noticed yet, but that cycle is coming to an end. Like, it is not going to stay there forever, because of course the wheel turns and it keeps turning. And I feel like you're very much in the like final steps of this thing here. So, like I said, it might be that you got some decision or some justice was happening in the past with the Justice card, and then now there is this victory in the present, but then the celebration, like, okay, the victory has happened, and, you know, you're getting recognition in the present, but the work is not necessarily done, and the celebration won't be until in the future with the 3 of Cups. So do you see how that works? Like, with the world is coming in, it's kind of happening, even if you haven't noticed it yet. And then in your hopes and fears, you have the Ace of Pentacles. And I just think this is an energy you can really, if this is what you want. The Ace of Pentacles is a stable new beginning for a relationship. This is a fantastic kind of energy, because, you know, you can have the Ace of Cups, which is, you know, new emotions and love and all these amazing things, but the Ace of Pentacles can be the same thing, but it's so much more grounded. It's not so esoteric as the Ace of Cups might be sometimes. Like, of course, the Ace of Cups is still an amazing card to get, but now you do have the Ace of Pentacles in your hopes and fears, and I feel like this is kind of what you're shooting for. And I feel like you do have the grounding potential or the down-to-earth potential to really achieve this Ace of Pentacles kind of energy. You know, which of course is like, excellent. Like, if you're there already, if you are grounded enough for this, then that's fantastic. If you're not there, then I feel like you will be. But then in your outcome, you do have the 7 of Swords, which can be kind of a scary card sometimes. You know, people get a bit iffy about it, because the 7 of Swords, it is this kind of, how do I say this? Like all your other energies are just so obvious and they're there, except for maybe the outside influence. But like, what happened in the past, it's known, it's there. It feels like you have the information, and the 6 of Wands happening now, it is like a clear victory, and you're in control and all these things. And then in the future, there's more celebration and everything's fantastic. The King of Swords in your underlying is very clear, like together, detached energy, looking at it objectively. You're in your own energy and your feelings. Yes, you do have the 5 of Pentacles in your crowning, but I feel like that's more saying, hey, if you do need a hand, it is there if you want it, you know? And the world is, of course, also an excellent energy, but it's not, you know, maybe you've not seen it yet. And then again, Ace of Pentacles, super grounded, stable beginning. that I think you're kind of shooting for here. And the Seven of Swords, it just kind of throws it all off a bit. And I'm not saying that anyone's being sneaky or anyone's lying or anything, but I feel like it's kind of connected to the Five of Pentacles in a way, and maybe even the Three of Cups. Like, there are just some things to keep track of here, and like, there is help to get. You don't, like, is there something you feel that potentially you'd have to be sneaky about it? Is this something you maybe don't want to let people know about? What's going on here? Is this something you don't necessarily want to look at? Like, let's check out the Oracle card from the Oracle of E. And you got number 22, Time Out. See that corner over there? It's yours and yours alone. And it's time to claim that special space. It doesn't matter what's going on out there. It doesn't matter what others are saying. Everything except your own blessed joy is now history. Stake your claim, then take a break. It's all smooth sailing from now. And it really feels like this card is kind of saying, like, it's okay, man. It's cool, you've done so much and everything's, like, this is about you and your well-being. Like, is that what the Seven of Swords is kind of saying? Like, what are you doing these things for, maybe? Like, there's great victories and all this, but, like, you don't have the Five of Swords, for example, which is a hollow victory. You don't have that. Like, yes, the Seven of Swords is the only kind of sneaky card you have. Like I said, all the other energies seem very clear and very obvious. So, like, why is the Seven of Cups, the Seven of Swords shown up in your outcome like this? But let's check out the Oracle card from the Wisdom of the Oracle, and you pulled number 7, To the Sea. And the essential meanings are being in flow, returning to source, recognizing how pieces fit together, a natural pattern of events. And this card it's talking about, like, going with the flow and just, like, letting things be what they are and kind of not having to be in control all the time. And this, like, controlling behavior doesn't seem very Sagittarius to me. Like, Sagittarians are quite laid back, I find. You know, it's one of the reasons I like you. You have many brilliant qualities, of course, but that's just what I'm focusing on because that's what the card is talking about. And like I said, it felt to me like the messages I was getting, it felt like you were very much in control with the Six of Wands kind of thing and the Three of Cups in the future. And even the Five of Pentacles in your crowning, talking about, like, this is someone who doesn't necessarily want any support or any help, that just wants to do it all on their own. And, you know, that's also a form of control, of course. So is that kind of what the To the Sea is talking about? That, are you in a relationship? Is this a relationship that's currently happening? Then, are you being this successful? Like, are you being this successful with your partner? Like, you're having this great victory currently with the Six of Wands, but then in the future, you're celebrating with loved ones. So, like, you know, what does that mean? And of course, you don't have to be in a relationship for this reading to resonate. Maybe you, like I said, maybe you were married in the past and maybe you had a divorce. Like, I know that sounds really awful to some people, but if you want a divorce, you want a divorce. But it was a victory. You got recognition, and it feels like it's something you wanted, and then in the future, you have this celebration with the Three of Cups again. And that you're kind of coming back to yourself and being the King of Wands. And something else that the To the Sea card is talking about is, like, kind of taking a time out, like with the Oracle of E. Like, taking a time out and kind of letting the relationship form its own personality. If you are in a relationship, that is. You know, kind of like, yes, you are two people in a relationship, but then the relationship kind of transcends two personalities and becomes its own unified kind of thing, right? But I understand if giving up control like that is difficult as well, especially if you've made so many great things for yourself and maybe you're even used to doing things by yourself for yourself and not being used to, like, working with someone else maybe. But I think it's very important for you to, like, ask yourself what this kind of Seven of Swords energy is. What is it you might not want to look at? You know, what is this something that is happening around you that makes you feel like you have to sneak? They kind of have to be a bit sneaky. I'm not saying you're lying or anything or something else similar like that, but maybe it's something that you just don't want to tell someone. Maybe you keep it to yourself. Maybe you feel like you have to be a bit sneaky about something. You know, it can be opinions or anything like that. But you have like some incredible energies, and I think you have been and can in the future make amazing things potentially, you know, and I think you have some like really firm ground to stand on doing all these things. I think it would be really interesting for Sagittarians. So that was your reading for mid-October. I really hope that was a message for you, and you know, like I said, these readings are general and it's kind of impossible for it to resonate with everyone. But if it did resonate, or if it didn't resonate and you want some more answers, you have some questions about other like aspects or areas of your life, maybe there's some situation you're in, then you can contact me through my email, which you'll find below in the description box. You know, I'll give you some information about prices and the kind of readings I do. And as always, if you are wondering what kind of decks I've used or anything like that, you'll find most of the information down below in the information box as well. I know I keep changing things up and doing things differently, but I'm trying to find my way of doing it and kind of what suits me, and as well as input from my viewers, of course. But until next time, I hope everything goes well with the messages that were there for you, and if nothing else, I'll see you next time.